Eloquent English. Unlock the power of fluent English.
Welcome back to Eloquent English, friends. I'm Helen, your loudest cheerleader when it comes to making English part of your everyday life.
And I'm Carl. I'm the guy who'll remind you that even a few quiet minutes of focused practice can change everything over time.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever told yourself, this week I'm really going to study English every day? And then 3 days later, you're binge-watching cat videos with zero guilt?
Oof, guilty. We've all done it.
Totally normal. And it's not because you're lazy or not serious about learning. Nope. It's usually because you're relying on motivation. And motivation is like that one flaky friend who only shows up when the sun is shining.
We've both seen it, time and time again. Students who make huge progress aren't always the most motivated. They're the most consistent.
Yes, and here's the good news. You don't have to change who you are. You just need to change your approach. In today's episode, we're going to give you a real, honest system to help you stay consistent even when you're tired, distracted, or just not in the mood.
By the end, you'll know how to build a routine that works with your life, not against it.
So if you're ready to stop starting over every Monday, let's go.
Consistency beats motivation every single time.
Yep. Motivation is like cotton candy. It tastes amazing at first, then poof, it disappears. But consistency, that's like rice. Kind of boring maybe, but it keeps you alive.
Exactly. Motivation gives you a push, but consistency builds momentum. It's what actually creates results, especially with something like language learning, where progress is often invisible at first.
So the next time you say, I don't have time for English, ask yourself, do I have 2 minutes? Because that's where habits start. Let's talk about your environment, because your surroundings can make or break your consistency.
Yes, people always think it's about willpower, but honestly, your environment is doing half of the work for you, or against you.
If your phone opens directly to TikTok, guess what you're doing when you wake up? Scrolling, not shadowing English.
Right. But if your home screen has a shortcut to your English podcast app or your Anki flashcards, suddenly it's easier to make the right choice.
This is what tech people call designing for defaults. We want to make the good action the easy action.
That means putting an English book on your pillow so you read a page before bed, or keeping a sticky note on your bathroom mirror that says, repeat 3 English sentences today.
I know one student who kept a small whiteboard near her kitchen, and every morning while her coffee brewed, she wrote a new English word on it. It became her mini ritual.
That's genius, because you don't have to remember to practice. Your space reminds you. It becomes natural.
So look around. Is your environment helping you learn English or pulling you away from it?
Set yourself up to win. You don't need more discipline. You need better design. Because let's be honest, willpower runs out. But a sticky note? That'll still be there tomorrow.
And the day after that.
Okay, here's one of my favorite tricks. Use triggers. And no, I don't mean emotional triggers. I mean habit triggers.
A trigger is just something that tells your brain, hey, it's time to do this thing now.
Exactly. Like if you always brush your teeth after breakfast, then breakfast is the trigger for your brain to say, okay, time to brush.
So we can connect English learning to a trigger that's already part of your daily life.
For example, you could say, every time I make tea, I'll listen to an English podcast for 5 minutes. Or right after I finish lunch, I'll review 5 vocabulary words.
Or while I wait for the bus, I'll shadow 1 English sentence from YouTube. Boom, habit linked.
The best triggers are things you already do every single day, like brushing your teeth, commuting, opening your laptop, or putting on your shoes.
It's about stacking a new habit onto an old one. James Clear calls this habit stacking.
Oh, yes. Habit stacking is like adding cheese to your noodles. Everything's better.
If you only rely on reminders or alarms, they can start to feel annoying. But with a trigger, the routine feels smooth, natural, automatic.
And once you do that consistently, you'll start thinking in English without even trying because it's baked into your day.
Consistency isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing smarter.
So, what happens when you miss a day or a week, or maybe you totally fall off for a month?
Here's the truth. Everyone slips, and that includes us.
Oh, yeah. I've had weeks where my brain just said, nope, zero energy, zero English, total couch potato.
The mistake is not in missing a day. The mistake is thinking, well, I've failed now, might as well give up.
Exactly. That's like dropping your phone and then saying, oh, well, and smashing it with a hammer. Like, why?
The real secret to consistency is this. Forgive yourself quickly, then restart gently.
Don't try to make up for missed time with a big 2-hour cramp session. Just return to your small habit. 5 minutes, 1 sentence. That's it.
In psychology, this is called the fresh start effect. Your brain loves a reset. It gives you permission to keep going.
And if you're stuck in guilt, ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? You'd say, it's okay, just pick it up again. So do the same for you.
The goal is not perfection, it's progress, and progress is messy sometimes.
So next time you fall off the English train, don't wait for Monday or next month. Just say, okay, I'm back, and start with one tiny step.
That's how consistency is built, one restart at a time.
All right, let's talk about something people either love or totally avoid: tracking your progress.
Some learners think tracking is only for overachievers or perfectionists. But honestly, it's one of the best ways to stay motivated without relying on motivation.
Think about it. When you track your progress, even in small ways, your brain goes, hey, I'm doing something right. It's like giving yourself a little gold star.
And gold stars add up. That's how you see your growth, especially when it's hard to feel it in real time.
You don't need a fancy spreadsheet or an app with 20 buttons. You can literally use a sticky note or draw a little check mark on a calendar.
Or write down one new word you learned each day. Or how many minutes you spent listening to English. It's not about the data, it's about the visibility.
Because let's be real, progress in language learning can feel invisible. You don't always notice that you're improving until one day someone says, wow, your English sounds better.
Tracking makes your effort visible, and when you can see that you're showing up, it's much easier to keep going.
So ask yourself, what's the simplest way you can track your English today? Then start doing it, 1 mark at a time.
And remember, it's not about perfect records. It's about staying connected to your goal.
Okay, so here's the part nobody wants to talk about, but everybody needs. What do you do when you mess up?
Because trust us, it's not if you mess up, it's when you mess up.
Exactly. You're going to skip a day, maybe even a week. Maybe you'll binge watch Netflix in your native language and feel totally guilty afterward.
But guilt doesn't help. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about bouncing back quickly.
This is where most learners get stuck. They miss one day and suddenly they think, I've ruined everything. I'll start again next month. But hey, this isn't a diet. You don't need a Monday.
James Clear, the habit expert, says never miss twice. 1 miss is human. 2 in a row, that's a pattern.
So when you fall off track, be kind to yourself. Forgive, reset, restart, and keep it light. You don't need to punish yourself with a 3-hour grammar marathon.
Just return to your tiny habit. 1 phrase, 1 podcast, 1 word.
And maybe tell yourself this: falling off is part of the process, but I always come back.
That mindset, that's what separates consistent learners from the ones who quit.
So next time you miss a day, smile, then start again.
All right, vocabulary lovers, let's break down 5 words and phrases we used in today's episode.
And don't worry, we'll keep it short, useful, and full of examples you can actually use.
First up, flaky. If someone is flaky, it means they're unreliable. Like motivation. You think it'll show up, and it doesn't. Example, don't count on Mike. He's kind of flaky.
Next, momentum. Momentum means forward movement. When you keep showing up, even in small ways, you build momentum. Example, she's finally got momentum in her English practice. Don't stop now.
Third one, fall off track. This idiom means to stop doing something you were doing regularly. Example, I fell off track last week, but I'm back now.
Fourth, a cool term from habit building, trigger. A trigger is something that reminds or prompts you to do a habit. Example, finishing breakfast is my trigger to open my English app.
And last one, stack a habit or habit stacking. This just means you attach a new habit to an old one. Example, I stacked my English shadowing onto my evening walk.
If you want to remember these words, we've got a PDF with all the definitions and examples linked below.
Plus, try using them in a comment. We'll be checking.
So let's bring it all home. If you remember one thing from today's episode, remember this. You don't need more motivation, you need a system.
A system that fits into your life. A system that keeps going even when you don't feel like it.
We talked about replacing motivation with small daily actions, making English a habit, designing your environment, using triggers, tracking progress, and most importantly, giving yourself permission to mess up and restart.
Because consistency isn't about being perfect, it's about not quitting.
So here's your action step. Choose one small English habit you can start today. Just one. Make it easy, link it to a trigger, and do it for 5 minutes.
That's how consistency begins, not with a big plan, but with one small move.
And hey, if you found this helpful, don't forget to download the free episode PDF with all the key vocabulary and examples. You'll find it linked below.
Also, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next episode. It's gonna be really good.
And if you've ever found it hard to stay consistent, we want to hear from you. Comment below and share your story. We're cheering you on.
Catch you next time. And remember, progress is made by showing up.
Even on the messy days.